Hey everybody, this is the Esoteric Cross. I make videos about how to gain your personal power while learning ancient secrets, and if that sounds like something that you're into, please hit the like button and subscribe and gain insight from this perspective in the cosmos. In this video, we're going to talk about the 7 rays of consciousness. We will get into the significance of 7 and getting into the deeper meanings of why we see this coming up so much. We're going to get into the idea of breaking the chains that keep us trapped. We see the number 7 come up a lot. We have 7 days of the week, 7 main chakras in the chakra system, 7 spectrums of light, 7 classical planets to the ancients, and I'm sure you can find this a lot more, or even find this coming up in other areas in life if you think about it or look out for it. These 7 parts are highly symbolic, and it really goes back to these 7 classical planets to the ancients. If you take a look at the 7 days of the week, you'll find that they correspond to the planets. In English, many of these names are corresponding to Norse gods, but these are also representations of planetary energies. I'll be talking about these 7 days of the week, describing them in English and Spanish. I'm doing this because I've been in the process of learning Spanish, and I really found it interesting when I was analyzing the days of the week in Spanish. So, in Spanish, Monday is lunes, lunar energy, the moon. This is moon day as Monday. Tuesday, in English, is going back to a Norse god of law and justice. This would be the equivalent of Mars, and in Spanish, Tuesday is Martes. Wednesday is named after Woden, and this was Woden's day. It is the day of Mercury, and in Spanish, the day is called Miércoles. Thursday is Thor's day, which has relation to lightning and thunder, much like Jupiter. In Spanish, the J is making what would be an H sound in English, and we can see that the word for Thursday is Jueves. This is the day of Jupiter. Friday is for the Norse goddess associated with love and fertility, and in Spanish we have the word Viernes, which is alluding to Venus. Friday is the day of Venus. Saturday is said to be the Sabbath. Saturday in English and Spanish are both showing us this link to Saturn, as it is Saturn's day, and in Spanish it is Sábado. And finally we arrive to Sunday, which is very straightforward. It is the day of the sun. In Spanish, this is called Domingo, which would mean of the Lord. In the Bible, God creates the world in 7 days and rests on the last day. The Lord is an allegory for both light and consciousness represented by the sun. A really good question is, why are we naming the days of the week after the 7 planets to the ancients? What is the significance of this? There's this idea within occultism that we are made in the image of our Creator. We are the microcosm of the macrocosm, as above, so below. The idea, especially within rituals, is to align the self with the cosmos, and if this is done correctly, then it would give the magician a great deal of power. You will find that many systems within civilization are set up in a way to mirror the cosmos, and even the Kabbalistic tree of life. Like the 7 days of the week aligning with the 7 planets, the 12 months or 12 hours on the clock are aligning with the 12 constellations of the zodiac. Government having 3 branches like the 3 pillars on the tree of life, and you may find it interesting how there is this emphasis on the red and blue parties, which are also the names for the pillars, and a middle way. All of this stuff boils down to what we call gnosis. It is the knowledge of the self, and all of it boils down to consciousness, how it operates, and gaining control over it. You do with that information what you will. Let's get deeper into the 7 planets and what they are representing as far as consciousness. Many people don't realize that when we are talking about the planets, we are talking about layers of our psyche, our aura, or our soul. This gives a much deeper understanding of what's going on here. These are ways that source consciousness interacts with the world. The sun is a representation of the light, truth, power, rebirth, and regeneration. I talked a bit about that in my last video, how all planets are just aspects of the sun, and this is because they really just reflect the sun's light. They don't produce light of their own. And if the sun wasn't there, these planets would have nothing to revolve around. They wouldn't even be here. Esoterically speaking, the sun is your personal consciousness, and these other planetary bodies are reflecting the personal consciousness back to itself and to reality through these angles. This is the deeper meaning of the hexagram. You could also take a look at the Kabbalistic tree of life to understand this a bit further. Notice how Tiferet is at the center of the tree, and it's also the bridge between Kether and Malkuth. And it seems very important, as if all of these seem to connect with Tiferet. Tiferet is corresponding to the sun, and this powerful I am aspect of the personal consciousness is reflected in these other spheres. Relating these planets to the spheres on the tree will really help give a deeper understanding of the spheres of the Tree of Life as well as the planetary energies. If we're following the path of how consciousness creates, then we will start by talking about Saturn. This is representing discipline, commitment, and structure. It has a lot of ties to death and creation. There's this regenerative aspect to Saturn, just as there is to the Sun. This is why it's no real coincidence that Saturn can be called the Black Sun, or many people talk about this being a part of something called the Black Sun Corridor. Saturn shows us lessons, karma, and it rules over time. Within creation, Saturn will create the structure, rules, and limitations for this process, and it starts the creation. Jupiter is the next planetary aspect, and this represents growth and expansion. Many people work with Jupiter because of its association to abundance, but there's actually a lot more to it than that. There's a freedom and adventure to this planet. It is gaining and expansive, but it comes with some cost. That is the focus on providing. We don't gain and expand in life by not providing value. The phase in this creation shows growth, vision, and mercy. Next, we will talk about Mars. This is one of the more difficult energies because of its aggression. Mars is heavily focused on control, power, and energy. It's not expansive, it's more restrictive. I would think of this as consolidating energy, distilling it, and focusing it. It's going to be the drive needed to push this creation along because it can't stay in a state of expansion forever. If it does stay in a state of expansion for too long, then it doesn't really get anywhere. This is going to bring order out of the chaos that's emerged. Next, we need to talk about the Sun. This is representing the heart of the creation. This is the truth, the light, and the pure essence of it. It's what is clear in the open, and since it's also linked to regeneration, it may represent the new essence that emerges from the burning aggression of Mars. Next, we have Venus, which of course represents love and beauty. It is strongly associated with emotions, fertility, and the nurturing aspect of the creative process. This stage is expansive again, and it has a vision. But now it's much more focused, it's emotional and motivated to bring it in and define it even further. Mercury is the next planet, and this represents the mind, the intellect, thoughts, and communication. This stage is restricting again. It moves very quickly. It gets the facts, thinks logically, and it finds the answers, makes sense of them, and gets things in order. From here we have the moon. Even though the moon isn't a planet, we consider it to be a planetary body here within the system. The moon is representing emotions in astrology, but we need to take a deeper look here. The moon is of course very much linked to the sun. The moon is proportionate to the sun in the sense that during a solar eclipse, it covers the sun completely. They are the same size in the sky from our point of view. Since the sun is a representation of our consciousness and what is out in the open, in the light, the moon is a representation of our subconscious. It's what is programmed by the light of the conscious, programmed by action. It is also the unconscious, so it's the mysteries, what's in the dark, and what we don't know. At least until it comes to the light of the conscious and becomes one with the sun. The moon is linked to the astral, and it is through this gateway that existence is formed. We all know that the subconscious creates reality, but this is how. Each of these planets have something important for us to overcome. There's also the concept of the 7 deadly sins. Each one of these energies have positives and negatives. These are parts of us that we need to gain control of and also harness the good qualities of. Each one will teach us a very powerful lesson that can really change us in a profound way. If that's something that you're interested in and you want to hear more about, please leave a comment below and I may dive deeper into that in a future video or create a series diving into the planets. I have an exciting announcement that I will be opening up subscription spots for my new membership. It acts a little bit like continuing education for my courses, but you can definitely join if you haven't taken any of the courses. Check out the link in the description below to join the waitlist and be the first to be notified when the subscription is for sale. Make sure to check out the link in the description below to see what courses I offer, like the course in Ceremonial Magic, which is focused on the elemental work. This sets up a strong foundation for future magical work, and it starts in March, so sign up now and don't miss it. If you want to work one-on-one with me, I offer coaching as well. There are links in the description to this as well as to where you can book a tarot reading with me. I also have the link to my Patreon if you're interested in some live streams. and hope there was something new that you were able to take away from this video. If so, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.